Yo guys, what's going on? It's Acez here today with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys if you should be upgrading your hideout the whole entire way, and the simple answer is yes. So we are going to break it down here. I'm going to go through all of the little stations here, and we're going to break down why you should be upgrading everything. Now, my voice sounds a little off. I do apologize. I just woke up and I'm a little congested right now, so you know, I got to get the work done. We're going to be uploading a ton of Call of Duty Warzone. That's going to be free to play, so make sure you guys check that out. Give it a play yourself. You can definitely run it on your computers if you're playing Tarkov, so make sure you check that out. Check some of my content on that out. I would really appreciate that if you could do that. But this is going to be uploaded in the future from when I'm recording it. The bonus items of the week hasn't even gone live yet, and then after you see this video tomorrow at the same time, same place, 9 a.m. Eastern time, when I'm going to try and upload a Tarkov video every day this week, because there's going to be so much Call of Duty content. I want to give the Tarkov players a video every day so they don't feel abandoned. So 9 a.m. you'll see this one, and then tomorrow at 9 a.m. it's going to be a lot earlier than normal. We will have the item of the week, the main one. So hopefully you guys are excited for that. But let's stop rambling. Let's get into the video here today. The entire stash, I upgraded the whole way. We have everything upgraded here. The only thing I did not pay for is the stash. And I might have said the entire stash instead of entire hideout, because I was thinking about talking about the stash. So if I said that, entire hideout is completely upgraded, but I did not pay for the stash. Obviously, if you buy a bigger edition of the game, you get bigger stash spaces. And obviously, between stashes 1, 2, 3, and 4, each edition of the game will either give you 1, 2, 3, and 4. I would highly recommend EOD. There's a lot of perks to it, especially early in wipe. But that is my opinion. Stash 4 from 3 is going to cost you 8.5 mil, and I do not know the other requirements, so I'm thankful I did not have to pay for that one. But we're going to move right to left. I'm going to go over mainly everything. There's a lot of things that I don't know the exact logistics behind, but I'm going to tell you what's good, what's bad. But at the end of the day, you should just upgrade your entire hideout. So we have rest space, we have negative removal rate, and I assume that is like fractures and stuff. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Don't quote me, but we got the energy regeneration rate. That's a little toughy. And then we have the health regeneration. Those two, getting those leveled up with the additional hydration, you know, regeneration that you can get with the like water collector or something, having all those leveled up really does increase them a ton faster than you might think. And then we got the maximum energy reserve, probably the most important one here in the rest space. Those extra 10 points are going to help you so much in long raids. They start to even out since your energy consumption is a lot higher. It's not a lot higher, but I think it's like 2.11, and then your hydration consumption is like 1.97 or something like that. So they start to even out later in raid. Having those extra 10 points is definitely very helpful, and you don't have to worry about finding some food along the way. We have the library, and what I just said is going to be a little bit different with the upcoming patch. You are going to have to worry about food in the upcoming patch, because a lot of people use a lot of stamina, and there's going to be fatigue, and it's going to affect your energy. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. I don't know how that's going to really stand, that comment, once the update's out for 12.4. So keep that in mind. We have the library. This is one of the most important ones in the game, in my opinion. The earlier you can get this before 40, the better. I'm not sure if you can get this one before 40, though, because I think you need a certain level mechanic or something. I cannot remember specifically. I don't do my research before these videos. I just give you my opinions, because that's, you know, I'm lazy. But this one is amazing. Additional experience, 15%. That helps out so much with those bigger levels, man. Level 39 to 40, I think, is 120,000 XP, so that does take a little bit of time. But the more important one is the groups of skills leveling boost the practical skills. So this is all your non-physical ones. Like, this one does not affect strength or anything. This is kind of your other stuff like memory and all that good stuff. So 30% increase on that. That is super awesome. Then we have the heating unit. That's going to give you more energy regeneration, and then that negative effects removal rate. This one isn't necessary, but I think the heating unit, you know, some of these higher upgrades require you to have that higher heating unit, so you really can't win when it comes to, if you want to, you know, only upgrade certain things. You do have to have specific preset requirements for some of these. So at the end of the day, like I said, you're better off just upgrading your whole entire hideout and not having to worry about anything. Next is the air filtering unit, and a lot of people do use this. I personally do not. It does not bother me one bit not getting that extra boost. But if you get the air filters, which you can actually craft yourself, and I'll show you that a little bit later, This will go up to 40%, I believe, unless it was knocked down to 30%. This affects strength, so strength is one of the much harder ones, probably the most important skill in the game, in my personal opinion. This does affect strength, so if you want to walk around with 40 weight before the next patch and put an air filter in here, you will level this up 40 or 30% faster, and they do last like 20 hours or something if you have a 300 of 300 filter in there. The filters run you about 150, 170k, I think. They're a little inflated right now. Med Station, one of my favorites, and I always have heard streamers say that crafting the Grizzlies is not a good method, but I do it anyway. We have the health regeneration, stupid high, but the main important one here is crafting meds. I always craft meds, and what I do here is I will just get meds out of raid, and then I will come in here and make Grizzlies, and I do not have to worry about my character's health whatsoever. 1,800 points of health with the Grizzlies, and they only need 5 meds. This comes out to about 50k. You can always make meds yourself, which I do this as well. I do not sell my augmentin. I think if you just bought meds or just bought augmentin or sold your augmentin, you would make more money that way. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. I just like crafting this stuff. It's kind of like passive income in a way. Moving on, nutrition unit. This is pretty decent early game and early wipe, but at the end of the day, the only one that I really use here is the 2 chocolate bars for sugar, because the sugar we will be using in another little unit here in the hideout. But this one does, I think it gives you some sort of perk. So we have energy regeneration, we have health regeneration, hydration regeneration, all the main 3 that you want. So upgrading the nutrition unit just for those buffs alone definitely is worth it. I believe you, like I always said, for heating and all these other ones, you're going to need it for some other one of these to even upgrade it. We have boost generator, which we're going to be using the sugar for, and purified water. Moonshines go for about 250k, purified water goes for about 120, and a pack of sugar goes for about 40k each. So you're coming out to about a 50k profit when if you bought both of these, but you can get these pretty easily. So the water collector, this one you get that hydration regeneration, and at level 3 for the water collector you can make purified water. You need filters. Filters are pretty common drops on interchange in like Ollie in the back. You can find them on the shelves. They're very common there, and you can find them sometimes in customs by that chemical van, right next to that chemical van in one of the warehouses. Hopefully you guys know where I'm talking about. We're gonna save the Bitcoin farm for last. It is easily the most important thing in your hideout. We're going to go to the generator, which I do want to say you want to get solar power as soon as possible, because it does take your fuel consumption down to 50% less. And this has been the most important actually in my hideout 100%, because I have not had to worry about fuel since I've gotten solar power. Generator, this one's a bit loud. This one's pretty self-explanatory. You just put fuel in, and yeah, these blue fuel containers with the whole amount of fuel in them pretty much cost the same as the regular, fuelless ones, because there is a trade in the laboratory, which we'll be getting to here shortly. But if you want a full metal fuel tank, you can buy one from Jaeger. I think they increased the price from 60k to 90k, or 15 matches. Matches cost about 5k each. I don't know the conversion on that one. I think it's still like 90k. But you can buy fuel from Jaeger, or you can go get these blue fuel tanks. You can find these on Interchange, very common, along with some spots on Customs. So the generator makes the whole entire hideout go round. You can't use almost anything else without the generator. So the generator, very helpful. Vents, I don't think there's any buffs to. Vents really just is a prerequisite to a lot of these other upgrades. So we have the security unit, which does nothing for you as well. That is just a prerequisite to like the intelligence center and some of the other ones. A scav case. A lot of people like the scav case. Now I'm running one right now, but I can tell you all of the options. We have a 100 ruble option, which takes an hour. The 6,000 ruble option, which I'm running right now, which is, in my opinion, the most profitable, which is every 2 hours and like 5 minutes. There is a 70,000 ruble option, which I believe is 2 hours and 10 minutes. And that one I always get burned on, so I've stopped doing it completely. The hatchling moonshine, which is about 250k, takes 3 hours and 50 some minutes, I believe. That one, I've gotten some pretty insane stuff on. I got a reserve key worth 1.2 mil, and then other times, you know, I've lost a bit of money. But the Hatchling Moonshine usually does work out in your favor. And then we have the Intelligence, which has been inflated to about 250k as well. That one's going to take you 5 hours, and I feel like the loot pool on that one is pretty decent as well. I've run that one about 2 times. I think I made money once and got burned once, so can't really speak from too much experience. Getting on to the stash, the most important one in the game. If you guys do not have EOD edition, this one you need to upgrade as soon as possible, because the bigger your stash, that bigger your advantage, especially early game for players who, you know, don't have a ton of money and stuff. You know, having the alpha container alone is definitely a nuisance, but having a smaller stash is probably the nail in the coffin. So the sooner you can get your stash upgraded, man, the better you will be. You really got to play it safe and smart when you are running with that smaller stash. I think the regular stash is a 10 by 24, which compared to a 10 by 26 is absolutely mind-boggling considering how much cases are nowadays. Moving on to, we'll do Intelligence Center next. This one is super important for people who like to make a lot of money on their scavs and just make a lot of money in general. Flea market commission is down by 30%. This one is huge, especially for the people who are, you know, really trying to turn profits in the flea market. This one allows you to turn a lot of profit over players who don't even have any Intelligence Center upgrades or aren't very good with the flea market. Those fees can really kill you on some of the more expensive items. Insurance return time is always nice to have a little buff on that. Quest money reward, this has definitely been noticeable for me, especially when I'm doing Peacekeeper ones where you're getting dollars, where that amount that they're worth is significantly increased. That is definitely a good one to get as quick as possible early on. And scav cool down timer, man, this one is so important. This one really does make a huge difference. It takes your scav cooldown from 20 minutes to, when fully upgraded, to 14 minutes. That is huge, man. That takes you from 3 scavs an hour to 4 scavs an hour, and that is a lot more than you might think, especially when you put it in perspective like that. That is a huge difference. Moving on to the Workbench. Workbench is super, super important. You make a lot of good stuff in here, but the more important thing that comes with it is weapon presets, which we'll get into in a second. A couple good trades here, in my opinion. We have the rip rounds. We have somewhere in here M995. Great trade here. You got the if you have some of these M67s laying around, this is a really decent trade. AP20s here. I love using AP20s. We got Eagle Neck right here. I think I'll start some of that a while. 150 Eagle Neck, that is a great trade as well, especially if you're running high raise or something and you're actually using the Eagle Neck. Obviously, a lot of people just sell it, but at the end of the day, Eagle Neck is a great one. Getting into the weapon presets, you can do so much with weapon presets, man. Hopefully it loads here. So I don't actually have any weapon presets, but a lot of streamers use weapon presets a ton. And what you can basically do here is throw a weapon in here, put all the attachments you want on it, save the preset, and then you can go ahead and buy all those attachments for it directly from the market. It is a super, super nice way to get a good build that you like and make it work out for you and have instant access to it. So the next one is going to be the shooting range. Then we'll wrap around to the lavatory, and then we will wrap back to the Bitcoin farm. So for this one, we're going to enter the range, and I only have a shotgun on my character right now because I'm doing a scav task on Shoreline, I believe. But the shooting range allows you to come in here and test some of your best weapons. I don't want to talk while I'm shooting. But it allows you to test your FOV if you want to get a good FOV for yourself and, you know, compared to your aim. It allows you to test your recoil. It allows you to see where your bullets are actually going to be hitting depending on what ammo you're using. There's a lot of perks to having the shooting range, and I would highly, highly recommend it, especially when you're building a weapon for a big raid like on labs. So, shooting range, definitely an important one. Getting into the lavatory. A lot of decent trades in here. Some of the stuff you need early in game, and one tip I want to give you guys is there's some tasks in the game for like bleach and cleaner. Any of the stuff you make in the lavatory, as far as I know currently, will still count as being found in raid if you actually make it. So that is definitely something to consider when you are looking for some of those items. Now, the best trades in here are probably the magazine case, and there's one more, the filter. Now, these are going to cost you about 90k each as water filters, so you're better off pretty much just buying the filter absorbers. You can also find these in stashes. I found one in a stash so far, which I was super surprised and did not have a big enough backpack on my scab to carry it. So I think I'm going to start this fuel here. Honestly, this isn't worth it, but I'm just going to get it over with because I'm sure these are taking up a ton of space in my stash. So we're going to start that one up. But the mag case, which is 2 fuel, 1 metal cutting scissor, bolts, and screw nuts, these are going to cost you about 15 each. These like 10k each. So 45, 75. The metal cutting scissors are going to cost you about 50k unless they're really down. Sometimes they go down to 20k, and that's when I snipe a couple of them just to hold on to. But we'll just say 50k, so that's up to about 125, and then each of these fuel tanks are going to cost you about 70 each, so that comes out to 140 plus 120 is going to bring you to 260, and the magazine case is worth about 310. You find all this stuff in Raid, it's pretty much pure profit, and you can just break it, you know, instead of having broken down into all these things to sell, you can kind of just merge it all into one for the magazine case, and the fee is only about 15k on the magazine case, so you're making 300k on all these items basically combined. So the lavatory is a nice one. I don't know if there was any buffs I missed on that. I don't think so. There is not. So the final thing is the Bitcoin farm, and the Bitcoin farm is easily probably the most important thing in the game for having a passive income. You can literally log on every single day and get 3 Bitcoins, which comes out to about 450k a day just for free. Now, if you get on like every 12 hours and you have 50 of 50 graphics cards in here, I believe you can get up to 6 Bitcoins a day, which would come out to roughly 900k a day. Now, you would have to play 24/7 around the clock, which is basically impossible for humans, but it is possible in a way. I only have 35 graphics cards in here because graphics card prices are about 330k right now, and I just don't feel like spending that extra 5 mil to get the next 15 in there. So that's just me personally. But these Bitcoins come in pretty quick, and I have considered it. We're going to be getting a wipe here within the next like 5-6 months, hopefully sooner than that. I'm really excited for a wipe. But this pays itself off super quick, and the longer you wait, the less money you will get. But with 50 of 50 in here, this pays itself off about in 20-ish days. So if you're a big Tarkov player, the Bitcoin farm is easily the most important thing in the game. Bitcoins literally stack up a lot quicker than you might think. So the more you play, you get on a couple times a day, you grab your Bitcoins, and they start filling up money cases or just filling up your stash if you don't sell them. I think I have 3 in mine right now. 1, 2, and 3, and I don't think there's any in the money case. So, you know, I have 3 right now. The most I've had at one point was 27. So they really do start to pay themselves off. But the Hideout, you should definitely fully upgrade it. I wanted to make a pretty much in-depth video about the Hideout. Now, I'm getting 18 minutes is what I have on here, and if it's really 18 minutes long, I do apologize. But if you sat through the whole entire thing, hopefully you found it informational. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the sponsors and equipment description below. That's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm out.